everyone, this is Steve Bishop from ProgrammingMadeEasy.com and of course Gartman Technical Services at gartmantechnical.com. So today I'm bringing to you guys an In My Opinion video where you guys get to ask me any kind of questions that you'd like. They're typically software development related or technology related, but really you guys can ask me anything you'd like. If you have a question that you want to ask me, all you have to do is just go to the comment section below this video or really any of my In My Opinion videos and drop your question in there in the comments. And I continuously add your questions to my ongoing list of things to address each week. So today's question I have for you guys, I think it's a pretty good one. I'm going to flip over here to show you guys my screen. Let me just pick it out here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that. And this question comes from Anatoly Al-Mayamani. I think that's my money. I think if I mispronounce your name, Anatoly, I apologize now. That's always my disclaimer that I like to give. So Anatoly says, I have a question, sir. Why are you so good at teaching? You are one of the best. How? And then he kind of follows up with two other questions. How does one become a better database developer? I have dabbled with spreadsheets, which led me to my current job. Databases are really new to me. I have bought a few books. Lydia.com, Udemy courses, and YouTube have been the bulk of my resources. The guy that I work with has a ton of experience, but he can't sit over my shoulder all day long. Any advice or thoughts? What do you know about certification or degrees in business intelligence? So let me first start off. I'm going to break this down and kind of address each one of your questions one at a time here. And really, each one of these questions that you have could be broken into their own videos. But I think I'm going to try to give it all of these three in one go here. The first one, why am I so good at teaching? Well, first of all, thank you. I'm glad that you guys appreciate what it is that I do. It's always nice to know that you guys really enjoy what the content that I bring and all that good stuff. Let me flip off of the question here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I really appreciate the kind words, Anatoly. Why am I so good at teaching? Honestly, I think it's just because I've always been a good communicator. Since I was very young, I had a pretty good vocabulary. My mother raised me to be very strongly, well-versed in vocabulary and always challenged me to learn new words and talk to me in a much more adult manner. And I always kind of grew up around adults. So I had to learn how to engage with adults at a very young age. Now, one of the things that I do, though, as far as how I plan my lessons, is that I'm trying to fit the audience. And first of all, I have to know my audience. And second of all, I have to understand the different ways that people learn. So a lot of people are auditory learners. They can just listen to me talk and everything processes just fine. Then there's another segment of you guys that are visual learners. And visual learners need some sort of graphical presentation to help them understand the concepts. And then the third kind is kinesthetic learners, okay? And these are the three different major types of learning that each individual person can do. Now, everybody has their strong points, their strong suits, as far as, some of them are better at kinesthetic learning than they are visual or auditory, or, one of those three tends to be the primary way that somebody learns. So in my videos, I try to do all three of those things. However, the third one, kinesthetic, really requires that you guys become engaged and that you follow along. So to cover those things, the first thing is the auditory people, obviously all I have to do is talk, but I thoroughly try to explain everything that I do so that I never make an assumption that what I'm about to do, everybody watching understands. Because if I make that assumption, then I'm going to leave a lot of people behind. Now, that has some drawbacks to it because a lot of people view my videos as being much more simple or basic. That's something I've kind of addressed on this channel before. They view it as being basic because I'm kind of regurgitating some of the more low level, basic type of things, but I'm also trying to reinforce some of those basic concepts while I'm doing it at the same time. So talking about things, working through them in a logical fashion, just by talking about that, hopefully helps those people who are auditory learners understand what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it. That's the really important thing, is why am I making the changes? Why am I writing that line of code? Okay. For the visual people, I really have been making an emphasis that on pretty much every one of my videos, I'm giving you guys a PowerPoint presentation to illustrate what it is that I'm doing. I think that's a key component for a lot of for visual learners who I know make up a good chunk of my audience. If you're watching YouTube, chances are you're a visual learner. It's just the most likely scenario because YouTube is great for watching things. And I don't have any studies to back this up, but I'm pretty sure that as a culture, we have moved to being more visual learning because we have YouTube, we have our phones that are in our hands all the time, and we look at it, we watch videos, we watch YouTube, we watch Hulu, we watch Netflix, we watch TV, we play video games. It's kind of the culture that we've turned into, is a much more visual and having things on a screen presented in front of us. And we're not as much book readers, although some of us are, but we're not quite as much book readers. We're not really into the storytelling world anymore. It used to be that, things were told in a story format, so people listened to people doing presentations as far as, talking about the history of things or how things work in an auditory fashion. That's kind of gone out the way, and more people are becoming visual learners with a bit of that auditory matching what's going on in the visual presentation. So I'm trying to fit that by giving you guys more PowerPoint presentations, as well as, like I said, talking through thoroughly everything that I'm doing. And the fact that you guys can see me do the code is another important aspect of kind of bringing together both the auditory learning as I'm talking about it and the visual connection with seeing me type the code. Really helps kind of bring those two parts of your brain together to understand what's going on. Now, for the kinesthetic part, it's a much more difficult thing for me to reach out to you guys and do. So the way that I try to do that, and a lot of different teachers say, here's a practice for you guys. Here's a kata or a work, like some sort of thing for you guys to do out on your own, a learning, thing for you guys to go try to figure this out on your own. Typically, I leave those as artifacts. Like, I didn't really get a chance to get to them in the video, so I present it as something you guys can go and discover. But the one thing that I would say for those kinesthetic learners out there, the guys that really need to be able to do things and really don't have the ability to understand until you actually do them, is look at my work files. Okay, go look at the work files. It's there for you, and copy the code. Look at my code and write it yourself. Look at my code, write it yourself. Do this over and over and over again. You've got to practice what it is that I'm teaching. So that's kind of the way that I'm trying to get to those kinesthetic learners. I should probably try to do more of those, here's some sort of thing for you guys to go work out on your own, and that would help those kinesthetic learners. And I think that that's a very big component too, is being able to take what you learn from the screen and from my talking and actually put it into practice and type your own code and make your own things. So oftentimes I leave, and I guess maybe that's another thing, is I don't like to give a full working product. I don't do my video series as, here, I'm going to build a complete application for you guys, and I'm going to show you how to do all of that, because I want you guys to think more about how the concepts that I give as a general rule can apply to what you're actually doing. So if I told you all of the answers, if I gave you every single answer to every single question, we would, I wouldn't be helping you guys with the actual practice of doing things. So that's what I'm trying to do. I hope that that's helpful to everybody. I hope everybody understands my perspective. And if you have any input on this, I'm more than welcome to hear it. I got some great suggestions from you guys when I did that in your opinion video. a while back where I was asking for your guys' input on the channel. So let's move on. I know it's kind of a lengthy explanation of why I think I'm a good teacher. I'd love to hear your guys' comments about, what it is that you like or what you don't like about how I do these presentations. Let's move on to Anatoly's second question, which is how does one become a better database developer? So I think that you really, it's practice, right? You have to go and learn something, and then you have to go and practice it. And maybe part of what I just talked about is a great introduction to thinking about how you best learn. What is your learning style? Are you a visual learner? Are you a kinesthetic learner? Are you an auditory learner? Can you listen to somebody talk and just listen and listen and listen? Then maybe you're an auditory learner, and maybe that's just something you need to focus your attention on, because that's the best way that you go about learning. I would typically, again, pair that up with actually doing the work. It's always helpful to actually build stuff and make things and use the concepts. Don't just follow along word for word with the code that somebody's doing, but actually try to apply the concepts in your own applications and doing your own databases. What's really, really helpful is to not just have one project. Do many projects. Do as many different small projects as you possibly can, because it will make your mind start to think about how you organize your data and how you want to present those entities in a more normalized fashion in your database. That's going to help you with things. Now, then there's stored procedures. You definitely want to go learn about stored procedures and triggers. And functions, all that sort of stuff. Then if you get really good with SQL, if you get really, really good with the SQL syntax, you can write anything, you can build triggers, you can build stored procedures and functions, and you can make all this stuff work together. Then you can start thinking about things like SQL Server integration services or reporting services, and really start to build your portfolio and understand the full framework that is SQL services, right? When you get to that level, I think you're going to find that a lot of job opportunities really can open up for you. Now, finally, when it comes to his third question, which is what what do you know about certification or degrees in business intelligence? I'll be honest with you, not a lot. I did not go to college, and I'm unabashed about that. I did not go to college to learn any of what I know. I learned kind of like how you did. YouTube, Pluralsight. I don't really do Lydia or Udemy. I did take a couple of courses on Lydia, but Pluralsight's really the place I typically go to because I just love their catalog. But watch, whatever that style is that whatever that learning style is that you tend to target, do it. As far as the certification or the degrees, when it comes to business intelligence, it's probably one of the few fields that right now I would say you almost need to have some sort of degree in order to really get yourself into that industry. Business intelligence is more and more becoming a science, okay? Being able to run statistics and understanding how the data needs to be massaged in order to present the correct information to the planners and the people that are in the management. They need this business intelligence to make decisions and make good decisions about the direction of the company. So being able to understand how to formulate the right ways to gather that information and structure it in a presentable way that's meaningful to the client or meaningful to the people who are going to be looking at it is a skill that is absolutely becoming more and more important in today's world, because more and more companies are becoming dependent upon this information. And one incorrect thing, one error in some of those formulas or calculations can really mess up a business. So they are definitely looking for people who have degrees and have some sort of certification in business intelligence. It's one of the fastest growing fields in the enterprise scenario for development. So I would strongly urge you guys, if you are looking at doing if you're looking to spread your wings beyond just a DBA and doing database management, you want to start to become that analysis guy, or, you want to start doing some of the business intelligence, like what Anatoly is saying here. I would say it's one of the few parts of the industry that really does require a degree, or really does need to have some pretty strong certification, because businesses are really looking for people who know what they're doing in that particular area, and they're going to feel more confident if you can prove to them that you have a degree. Luckily, in my arena where I do more development, as long as I have proof that I understand concepts and I have knowledge about these things, it tends to be a little bit easier to communicate with clients that I can do for them what they need. And I don't necessarily have to have the certifications or collegiate degree to back up what I do, because I have proof of what I do. Business intelligence is a little different. It's hard to prove your knowledge in business intelligence, okay? Because you have to have actual statistics and stuff. You don't have a product that you can show somebody, or some code that you can show somebody to prove your knowledge. The only way you can really do that is by having one of those degrees. So there you guys go. I hope that this has been educational for you. Thank you again, Anatoly, for your question. I really appreciate it. I hope I've answered it completely in all three aspects. And again, if you guys have a question like Anatoly's, where you just want to get more information out of me, try to get my opinion on certain things, all you have to do is drop your question in the comment section below this video, or any of my other In My Opinion videos. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.